Okay, so here we go. All right, so what is attraction? Does everyone here know what attraction is? Everyone know? Anyone want to take a guess at what attraction is other than reading the screen right here? Okay, all right, so no guesses. Okay, why are women attracted to some men and not others? Anyone know?
Pheromones?
Pheromones, exactly. Genetics, right? Because they're tall and rich, right? So why do women fall for bad boys even when they treat them poorly or cheat on them? Right? These are some of the questions we're going to be answering today. Aren't women only attracted to tall, handsome men who are rich, popular, or powerful? Isn't that what they want, right? All women? No. Why are women attracted to confident men? What is confidence, and how do I get it, most importantly? Okay, so see, these are some of the questions that we're going to be talking about today, okay? So this is going to go in kind of a call-response way to go. So I'm going to be asking the questions up top that you guys are probably thinking in your head, I'm sure. So what makes a man attractive? So most guys believe that women only fall for guys who are tall, good-looking, and rich. While that may be true for some women, those attributes are usually only secondary forms of attraction to most women. For women, attraction happens at a much more primal level. Okay, so to say that women only fall for like successful men, that's kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit, right? It's not that they're attracted to a man's success. They're attracted to the attributes that make him successful, right? So they're attracted to not just the success, but the potential to have success. That's far more important than the actual fact that they are successful. Okay, so as such, women are just as attractive to men that have the potential to be successful as they are to men that are successful. That is extremely important to remember. I see someone writing it down. Good job. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about evolution today, okay, because a lot of this, some of the stuff I'm going to give you today is called evolutionary psychology. Has anyone heard of evolutionary psychology? Banu has. Anyone else? I'll stop calling out your names. So they, okay, so from an evolutionary standpoint, women are programmed to mate with a man who gives her and her children the best chance for survival. Because of these powerful instincts, attraction is not necessarily a choice for women. Have you guys ever heard this before? This is actually a very common phrase out there that, attraction necessarily isn't a choice for women. You guys have heard that? Okay, so this is evolutionary psychology. We're going to go into that in just a little bit, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about the evolution of society. So, if evolution is so powerful, why don't women just want good provider protectors, right? So society has changed a great deal since we lived in hunter-gatherer tribes, right? Women don't rely on men as much to survive anymore, right? They can kind of do that themselves. Because of the evolution of society, being a good provider protector is really no longer relevant anymore, right? Okay, so another good question. All right, if women don't need a provider anymore, then why don't they fall for nice guys, right? I mean, that should be the thing, right? It's like they don't need someone to provide or protect them anymore, right? So they just, why don't they fall for nice guys, right? Well, while it's true that traditional gender roles have changed, status still plays a very important role in today's society. We're going to be talking a lot about status. Status is huge. I would say that status is far more important than provider protector, okay? In tribal systems, social status determines the distribution of wealth and resources, and it can improve one's standard of living. I mean, that's pretty much the way it's been. We used to be, long time ago, we were banded in tribes of like 30, 40, 50 people, right? So, and the person in society who was at the top of the chain, the alpha male, he was the one that ended up with the most resources. So naturally, that's why women who are looking to provide the best life for her and her children are attracted to alpha males. Because of this, women are attracted to men with higher social status. So status plays a huge role in both pickup and approach. Okay, I'm going to make a determination between the two, pickup and approach. Okay, pickup tends to be more about kind of pretending to be high social value. Whereas in approach, I really want you guys to actually improve your social status. I want you to be better people so that it's more genuine and authentic when you approach people. So in approach, the goal is to raise everyone else's status around you. So to raise your status, and by raising your status, you raise the status of those people that are around you. That's approach, okay? So in pickup, actually the goal is not only to try to raise your standard, but also to lower the standard of people around you. So that's why I don't teach pickup, because it seems like there's a price to pay for raising your social status. I believe in approach that you can raise your social status and raise everyone else's around you. And that ends up being a win-win for everybody. Okay? So, unfortunately, nice guys tend to put everyone else's needs before their own. Okay? This demonstrates a willingness to lower themselves in order to elevate others. This is why nice guys have no social value. I see a lot of guys going, oh. But this is pretty much why nice guys end up finishing last. This is exactly why nice guys end up finishing last, because they're always trying to elevate everyone else around them. And in order to do that, they have to kind of lower themselves in order to do that. So what about bad boys? Does this mean you should learn to be a bad boy, right? Is that what we should be, right? Well, Dr. Glover says that bad boys are just the flip side of the nice guy coin. Same shame, same everything. While it's true that bad boys show a lot of alpha male qualities, they're usually hiding insecurities and low self-esteem. This is why they end up kind of being the same as nice guys. Still, women love bad boys, even if they're afraid to admit it. You guys know this, right? But don't women know that bad boys lie and cheat? Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. Ironically, most women know that bad boys cheat, but they still date them anyway. Doesn't make any sense, right? Well, again, we're going to go back to evolutionary psychology on this, okay? So we're going to start talking a little bit about the lover and the provider. Have you guys heard about this? The lover and the provider? Okay, so women will mate with the best lover to give their children social status, and then find the best provider to ensure that their children are raised healthy. Okay, so this is kind of this is evolutionary psychology. This is why men like Genghis Khan have been really, really successful. You guys ever hear of prima nocte? You guys know what that was? I can't pronounce Greek anyway. So that was this practice where when on the wedding night, on the wedding night of one of the villagers or something like that, basically the tribal leaders would come in and they would sleep with the woman on their wedding night. That was prima nocte, right? And so the idea here is that these alpha males, they're basically like the 1%. Right? They're trying to spread their genes out so that we become more successful as a tribe. So that's kind of where prima nocte came about. Lover versus provider. So we talked a little bit about this in our Nice Guy course. Women, again, they'll look for the lover, to actually have the child with, to get the good genes. And then they'll end up having a provider that'll take care of the child. And this is actually still really prevalent today. I mean, how many women have ended up in a relationship early on in life, had kids with a relationship, divorced them, and ended up marrying a really good guy? See, it still kind of happens. It still kind of happens even today, even though we're so evolved, right? So, like if you guys don't want to be the lover and just be the provider, then go look for single moms. It's just that simple. But that's what happens, right? So, and we talked a little bit about this before, about being the lover versus the provider. So it's easier to be the lover, right, up front with a woman, and then later on become a provider, okay? So we'll talk a little bit about this next here. So what do women really want then, right? Do they want the lover or the provider? So the answer is both. They're looking for a bad boy with a heart of gold. That's what they're looking for. If they can find a lover and a provider, then she's hit the jackpot, right? That's it. You guys know Robert Downey Jr. here? Do you guys know about his past?
Drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Drugs, total bad boy,
Yeah.
right? Always in trouble. I mean, there's pictures of him all over the internet of him in like a jumpsuit, an orange jumpsuit going to jail, right? He's a bad boy, right? And he had a lot of women. So, look at him now. So now he's the dad, right? So for this lady right here, jackpot. Wait a minute. So women want us to be both? They want us both to be nice guy and bad boy? How does that work? Right? Well, the answer to that is yes. That's what they want us to be. They want us to be a nice guy and a bad boy. That's really what they want. But that's not what you guys should be thinking about, right? If you end up kind of getting too much in her head, right, you start thinking a little bit like, okay, so I got to be a nice guy here. I got to be a bad boy here. No, that's what you should not be doing. You should be focusing on yourself. A lot of guys make that mistake, right? They're trying to think of what the woman wants. That's a huge mistake. You should not be doing that. If you're too invested in what she wants, then you're elevating her status and lowering your own. Okay, so that's known as the investment paradox. You guys heard about that, the investment paradox? So yeah, there's this difficulty that we face, right, is, okay, well, women want to be desired, so I have to show them my desire, right? I have to show them how much I want them. But as soon as I do that, I raise their status and lower my status, right? So that becomes a paradox. Like, how do I do that? And really, the way to do that is by being vulnerable, right? And we've talked a little bit about vulnerability. Vulnerability in this case is not so much being like, whiny cry, like, oh, I love you so much. It's more about being a leader, being courageous, putting yourself out there, taking risks, okay? This kind of solves that problem because you're being brave and you're showing your desire at the same time. So you're kind of raising your status on both levels, okay? So that's what I mean by vulnerability in this case. You're taking chances. But don't women want to be put on pedestals, right? Isn't that what they want? We always do that, right? As nice guys, and maybe even not so nice guys, we end up putting a woman on a pedestal because that's what we think that they want. But that's not what they want. They're attracted to men of higher social value than themselves. That's what women want. They want you to bring them up to your level and no higher. Because as soon as you start bringing her up and elevating her above yourself, all of a sudden now you're lower status than her. So you should never, ever, ever put a woman on a pedestal because then she becomes more valuable than you. It's that simple. True confidence, Mr. Jobs. Your focus should always be on yourself first. A man who has true confidence is always more invested in himself than anyone else. If you start investing in yourself, you will raise your social status and naturally become more attractive to women. Simple as that. So what are some ways that you guys can start investing in yourself? Anyone have any ideas? Work out, right? Okay.
Well, read is what we're doing right now.
Read, yeah. Coming to classes, starting to raise your social intelligence, right? Anyone else? Grooming, yeah. Making yourself look a little better, right? Anyone else?
Just practicing what you want to become better at so you have more
Exactly.
ability in it.
Exactly. Finding your edges, right?
Take responsibility for getting your needs met.
Yeah, exactly. Taking responsibility for your own needs.
I was going to say maybe a little bit of meditation, spiritual kind of focus.
Spirituality, focusing on yourself.
Kind of
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, getting in deep with yourself, knowing yourself really well.
Exactly.
That can be extremely attractive.
Simple as having hobbies and doing things you want to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Doing what you want to do. That is going to make you a more valuable person to yourself, to the world, and to women. That's just the way it is. So we also spoke a little bit about this before in our Nice Guy class, and that was, finding your edges, right? How do you raise your value as a person? Well, you find your edges. We've lost our identities a little bit, as being nice guys, being too focused on what she wants. So the way to get out of that is to find your edge, and the way you find your edge is to find out what you're afraid of, right? And I don't mean like skydiving or falling into black holes or anything like that. I mean finding out like what challenges you, like public speaking, right? Like performing, right? Anything that you guys feel like you're stretching your boundaries, you should do that. And then you should go just a little bit beyond your comfort zone. That way you start to stretch your comfort zone out to that, and you start to grow. You start to find out your purpose and your mission in life. So does that mean you got to go out and buy a sports car, change all your clothes, dress better? No? Well, actually, if that's if you're passionate about that, if you want to do that, then yeah, do it. I personally do like fashion, right? I have a pretty cool car. I got to change it pretty soon, but it's like that's what I wanted. I saw it. I was like, I see absolutely no reason why I shouldn't get this. I love it. I like horsepower. So that's what I did. Otherwise, that's not the type of investment I'm talking about. Investing in yourself means finding your edge, as we just spoke about, and living just a little bit beyond it. It means pursuing your life purpose no matter what. So have you guys heard about congruence? Do you know what congruence is? Okay, so this is kind of how women find out the people that are pretenders and the people that are real, okay? Because one of the things that they really look for, and they've learned to do this over a long period of time, is they look for congruence. Are you congruent with who you are? And sometimes, even I can't tell if a guy is really congruent, but a female friend will say oh yeah, that guy's totally faking it, right? They just have this, they have this sixth sense of being able to do that, right? Because that's part of who they are. They got this great bullshit meter, right? So they're able to figure it out. So congruence is a big deal. So to me, that's why you shouldn't just really pretend. I mean, you can. There's certain things you can pretend on if you know that you're working on it. Like I know that I'm working on some things, right? And I'll visualize it. And to me, the visualization can be just as important as doing it, right? So I'll focus on something, and then I'll go do it. And I might be faking it at first, but eventually I'm going to make it. I only recommend doing that if that's, if you are actually working towards making it, right? If you're just faking it to faking it, they're going to sniff that out. And it's not going to do you any good. So does that mean that you have to do all that before you can date? Do I need to invest in myself? Do I need to become this perfect guy before I can date? No, investing in yourself is a long-term strategy. As I said, you can fake it a little bit before you bank it, right? But you can start doing these things right now. You can start doing the changes that you want in your life right now, right? And you can be honest and vulnerable about those things. It's going to make you a better person. It's going to make you more attractive. And it's going to do nothing but make your life better. But it's a long-term thing. Don't just expect okay, I'm going to start doing this stuff, and overnight I'm going to be this grand sensation. I mean, it's a life purpose thing. You really have to kind of start investing in yourself before you can grow, and that takes a while. So the more you invest in yourself, the more success you'll have in both love and life. That's very, very true. The reason you came here today is because you want to learn to get better at approaching women, right? So this is a long-term strategy. What we're going to talk about today is, congratulations, you found one of your edge. So now we're going to get started.